Mike, obviously he lost the game. It was a slow start, to say the least.
Yeah, I was disappointed in the first half an hour just with our in possession stuff and our rest defence. I think the detail that we lacked was just the simple things. I thought we tried to penetrate too early, too quickly, and we needed to be patient, but we needed breaking lines side to side as well as vertically needed to be better. And I think that the domination and our XG and our chances, there's so many positive things there, but just disappointed because it was in our hands, and I felt as though we lacked it, which we haven't done in pre-season. So it's up to us to watch it back and make sure we use it as a massive lesson and move forward, because we don't want it to be a familiar feeling when we're dominating games and coming away with 0 points.
Yeah, I mean, you threatened, but to turn it around. I mean, when you scored with Alex Gilbey for the rest of the first half, and certainly a good degree of the second, created chances, and it felt like it was coming, and I mean, it just didn't, which is obviously disappointing. You couldn't convert any of those.
Of course, but it was in our hands, which makes it frustrating, but also puts the emphasis on us to learn and make sure we grow and develop from it. I didn't feel as though we'd gotten done anything tactically. I just feel as though 25-yard shot and a deflection in the first 10 minutes was a difficult one to swallow, but the lads' endeavour and their intensity was there, but I just felt it was the detail that was off, and that's something that we need to make sure we look at and address. But I thought on another day we could have scored 3 or 4 goals.
7 debutants, more off the bench. I mean, is it, in your experience, sometimes something that takes a little bit of bedding in? I mean, it's obviously, quite a change, quite an overhaul.
Yeah, there's been lots of change, but I'm not looking for excuses, as we're not putting your finger on it. There's a multitude of things going on that we can all kind of blame, but there is no blame. It's taking responsibility and making sure that we do what it takes to address it. And like I say, we entered the 18-yard box numerous times, and on another day we do score more goals. So there's so many positives in terms of the performance and the stats and how easily our structure did play through them. But I'm not really interested in that at the minute. We're just looking at the things that we didn't do well and the areas where we could have penetrated, like with simple detail, rather than trying to overcomplicate things and looking for the longer pass and creating 5 balls.
You had Tom McGill, obviously, goalkeeper coming in. It's same with Sam Sherring. Yeah, it's not an easy start when you concede early, and you obviously for Sam Sherring scored an own goal, but must be happy with the way they kind of came back after that.
Yeah, the mentality of the boys, they'll never ever give up and never quit trying to do what we asked them. And it was you couldn't really get a harder start with the cameras and the owners and everything that's going on. There's so many factors, but for me, I'm looking past the positive things, which there were plenty, and that's for everyone else to identify and talk about. I'm looking at how we could have just hurt them on a more of a consistent basis and move them about and drain them more, because I felt as though we did it in spells in the first half, but just not enough.
Obviously, you know how Pete Winkleman has worked. You've worked for him for quite a while now. From your perspective, some owners talk to the manager directly after a game. I suppose that's something you won't quite know how they're going to how hands-on they're going to be just yet.
Yeah, no, and it's a relationship that I'm sure will develop, and they've come in and they've got energy and they've got ambition, and they spoke to the staff and to the players, and it's exciting times. So for me, I've got one job, and that's what I'm looking at. So I'm looking at where we need to improve and making sure that the players understand it, and then we go to Watford and show what we've learned.
Thank you.
A lot of new signings in the team, but it was Alex Gilbey, man who's been here for a year now, who gets the goal. He was, it's a really well taken finish.
It was, yeah, and that's why he's at his best, when he's running into space and the ball's in front of him, and he makes things happen. I just felt as though our off the ball detail wasn't there. I feel as though when we move a team from side to side, we need to connect up, and our structure needs to be with the same distances, and I thought, regardless, I don't know what it was. The gaps became too big, which means our connecting passes weren't on as simple. So then we looked longer, and they picked up a lot of second balls, and that's where they had the most promising attacks from. So we need to just make sure we tighten that up and learn from this game.
Promising debut though for Aaron Lemaine.
Yeah, he was. I think he was dead on his feet by the end, and he was cramping on his calves. And same with a few. I think that was our most promising spell in the second half, but we didn't want to take any risks and make sure we got to look after him and do it properly. It's a long season.